Hey guys, I'm going to do another video here. I am going to start a little bit of Tour 8. I'm going to keep basically the same bag as you saw me for Tour 7. No changes. I've already done a couple holes. I have tried to use Sniper, and I feel like the shot is still Guardian, to be honest with you. There's a couple holes that I can probably get away with Sniper, but it would have to be like a 7 or an 8. My Sniper doesn't have very much backspin. Right now it's at about a 2 to 3 bars out of 5. So the back and top spin are just too lacking right now. More so than anything, the backspin. Not being able to have that backspin is huge. So right now rock's been coming up a little bit on my extra mile. I feel like there's certain holes on this setup, or even the last setup, that one of these could actually give extra mile a run for its money, aside from the whole distance thing. Of course, there's a couple holes on this tour, as you guys know, that are kind of super long. I have got to the point where I unlocked that. I have 50 trophies so far in this. And I'm going to keep going a little bit and do a couple holes. Kind of show you the ins and outs of this tour. It's again another precision tour where you have to be very mindful of your shots. Certain holes you might not be able to eagle, and not eagling it could be the difference. Like, this is a perfect example. So it might be hard for me to eagle if I don't get this down pretty aggressively. I haven't played this hole yet, so I'm just kind of going to try to line it up and try to figure out. I feel like this is going to be short. I don't know if this is going to be. I'm not going to add too much power or anything. I'm just going to try to go for more of the stock shot, just a tiny bit of curl, and then try to make sure that I don't miss right, because I'm curling it. So let's see what I can do here. I do want to still kind of get a little aggressive down there. Obviously, I don't want to send it through the fairway. But I feel like without getting to the end there, especially just using a navigator, I'm really limiting my shot ability. I'm going to have to hit a 3-wood from there already for sure. So I did draw wind in the face. An alternate way to play this would be with top spin this way. I'm not going to be able to do that with Guardian. So I'm really going to put myself up against it here. I'm going to have to try to see what kind of fairway hops I can get right on this beginning. Because this is that's as good as a shot as I can hit. As I can make it land about here. And that's as good as I can make this happen. So, not really sure what I'm going to need to do here. I'm going to try to do one-ish bar of backspin. I'm going to try to do some curl. But not a lot of margin of error here. And, I don't expect very great results. I didn't even have enough times to click it a bunch of times. There's just not enough club for me to get it there. I would have to put on Titan to give myself a competitive edge. like this guy has. Plus he has Cataclysm too. Doesn't mean he's going to pull it off. He still has to hit a good shot, but with Titan, it's the difference between winning and losing, so put it on sometimes. Like, he's only going to have to go a little bit of power. You can already see his is much farther. His shot arrow is much farther than mine. But he still has to execute here. So, which he did. Which, that's basically going to put his on the green. And if I want to get to the shootout, I'm going to have to make it from the bunker. So let's think about how I would approach this. I'm going to use less backspin than I typically would. And that's because I know that it's going to already want to roll out as is. So I'm going to try to use this as my ball guide as to where I would land it. And I am going to take off just a tiny bit. The wind's not really going to play this short. Plus uphill. Oh, wow. I was way behind on that. And that could have to do with... So it's funny. Like when I switch to my other account, the timing is so different. So when I first switched to this account, I'm like real slow. But then when I switch over to that one, I'm like real quick. So it's like the timing being different between the two devices that I use is so different that it just takes a little bit of a time for adjustment. Because I was way behind there, and it's crazy because I released what I remember being basically spot on, and I was just slow to the trigger. So one of the things you can definitely do is, stick to one device is definitely a good tip. But aside from that, if you have delay, so the device that I play on this account has a lot of delay. So I kind of say to stay away from this. Like, you don't want to see all that delay. But at the same time, if you always use the delay and you know what the delay is, you can just memorize the timing. So it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world to have the delay. So okay, so you can see here, I can add, when I rotated that, it looks like I have a little bit of rough to play with here. So I can add some power, just a tiny bit, because I don't want to hit it off that cliff. So it's best, you can see the wind. It's not necessarily perfect side wind. So I'll add just a touch of power. Hit a perfect ball, and just spin it through the rough. And this guy, not quite enough power. So it can be a little touchy shot. You want to be a little wary of that one. So I actually drew a pretty bad wind here, especially for only having a Guardian. This is going to be a no doubt full ball, which I really don't have to worry about the rough here. It's more of keeping it on line and actually, trying to get this going towards the hole. So hopefully that's okay, The Guardian does have a decent amount of accuracy, so you can go up there. The only thing that's doing is it's slowing my ball down some. So it's going to make it come up a little shorter, going to the right as opposed to the left. So left, it would have ran out a little bit more. Probably would have been about pin high. So I already get kind of the feeling that this tour is going to slow me down a little bit. My clubs just aren't there. They're just not there yet. I'm pretty outmatched on everything. Like if I had a Guardian that could still topspin 2 or 3, and I don't know what the point is where it gets the next upgrade for spin. I feel like it's about the midway point, maybe 5, 4, somewhere in that ballpark. And that's what I'm really going to need. Because I really need that topspin if I'm going to use this. Other than that, Sniper would have to be at like an 8. For me to actually want to switch to Sniper, it's going to have to be like an 8. Like, no joke. I don't think... There's just a couple holes that Sniper is really, really bad on this tour. And I don't think Guardian's the perfect... Like, realistically, I gotta be honest with you, I think it's like a tiebreak. Like, there's no real advantage to either. I think both are kind of inferior clubs for this tour. The best club for this tour would be like a Cataclysm. Cataclysm 2. That's kind of what I would really like to have. Aside from that, maybe big dog. So having the full backspin shot is less important on this tour. I'm trying to think. I played 3 or 4 holes, and there's been one hole that I was like, oh, thank goodness I have Guardian on right now. But I'm trying to think of what it was, and it was only one hole. This one you don't need it. This one, more than anything, you can hold it up to the right side over there a little bit and just kind of curl it around to the right, and then utilize that fairway and bounce it off that fairway towards the green. I wouldn't go at it with a basic ball like this guy's doing. I feel like he's putting it in a situation where, oh, well, he didn't even hit the fairway. I was about to say that he's putting in a situation where he would probably be like 70-30 to be able to get to the green and whatnot. I feel like you should kind of press a little bit on this. Try to get it a little bit longer down there. Even if you fail, it's best to at least have a couple yards here. So you see I'm kind of going for it a little bit. And I'm guessing with that wind, hopefully I don't hit the tree. Good, I'm under. Pressing a little bit, but you see that I'm leaving like a little bit of slack just to miss right on the left. Just a touch. Not very much. I mean, you have to be pretty precise with that drive. It's so narrow. I have trouble, I gotta be honest with you, on my primary. When I use my Apocalypse 5.6, like, that was still a beast drive. It is just a challenge. So it makes it that much harder when I go to an extra mile 4 and the accuracy is half. Like, it's just unbelievably hard. I'm actually getting lucky there because I'm getting downwind. It's actually making the hole a lot easier than it should be. Because if this was into the wind, that's kind of like what I was mentioning. Like if I was getting this on, drawing this on tour 10 or something, it is just brute. It is just a brute force. So sometimes I play this rough shot here. I kind of like that. Especially with, I mean, compared to Guardian, like, there's really not a lot I can do with Guardian, I gotta be honest with you. Like, I can just go no power here. The only thing I have to be a little worrisome of is hitting that bunker. But let's try this with no top. Just go like this. And that's best case scenario was hitting perfect, which I did. You see it's obviously backspin. I couldn't remember. I don't take notes. So it sucks when I haven't played a hole for, you know, a month or two and then have to remember. I think I probably play somewhere around a bar and a half, 2 bars there, a backspin. What was that? I wasn't paying attention to what he was doing, but geez. So one of the things that you can do when you're going over hills like this, see how the hole is highlighting? Is you can just kind of go right to left there and then kind of shake it. And then just try to put it in the center somewhere. So that's what I did. It gives me, it gives me room to hit a great ball on either side for the most part. Sometimes when you roll off to the low side, it'll put you in problems, but if you miss on the high side, like on the high ridge side, it'll usually still drop down in the, it'll just like overbreak and drop down into the cup. So let's see what we get here. I am really happy to see that those weren't the upgrades. So what's next, because it's upgrading? Oh, come on. Grim Reaper. I'll take that though. Been wanting to see that big dog. So let's see here. Oh my goodness. Look at that. I have 2 hops with big dog. I gotta be honest with you. I'm like half tempted to throw that sucker on for this tour. The backspin shot isn't really as important as you think as it is. I gotta be honest with you. I feel like it's a split decision at this point through this tour. I'm really on the fence about what to do here. What are the accuracy numbers compared to what I'm using? 25 and 50. Shoot. This is such a hard decision. There's like so many shots that are advantageous one way or the other for each one of these. I'm going to go ahead and switch. We'll just play a couple holes with it, see how it goes. I don't think it's a terrible club once you're at least at a 4. I've mentioned in the last couple tours about how important having that second hop is. Once you get to that second full hop, you basically don't need any more ball trail. That's all you need in this entire game, technically. Now, I'm using that term very loosely. And then look at this guy, Apocalypse 2 already. Ugh, not even 1,000 games. Of course, I'm not even 200 games, but that's besides the point. So let's see. This guy's really trying to hit it down there aggressively. I don't really recommend this approach, at least until you get up there a little bit with your clubs. You see, he doesn't have a lot of room for error. He has to really thread it, and if he hangs it out there too far left, it just runs through into the rough towards up here where I'm pointing in that bunker. So there's really not a ton of error there. I would prefer to see you guys just kind of lay it back here and just not do anything too much. Now I did use 4 topspin, but you see I'm adding no extra power and I'm doing the curl instead of playing the wind. I did get the perfect ball, so that's always a plus. I'm assuming I'm not going to run it down here too far. This is my first time ever playing this hole. You see I got plenty of fairway there. The only problem that this does is it leaves you with a long iron. And it's not the best long iron in the world. So next time I will go a little bit more aggressive because, I mean, as you see, the fairway is just huge. You have a decent amount of error. So if I can figure out how I can optimize a little bit more distance to where I could potentially get it down to a short iron, I'm going to take advantage of that. But I do have one of the best long irons at this level, in my opinion, for these tours that we're doing. I do have one. I have been playing with one of the best ones. So that's kind of a plus. And let me show you why I think that. It's because of backspin. So even if I go for this here and backspin it, I mean, look, this isn't the worst miserable thing in the world. I mean, you're basically conceding and saying, okay, look, like, I'm not going to get the eagle, which I hate to do. I hate to just be like, just give up on a hole, basically. But this hole deserves respect like that. There is no margin for error on this hole. You just hit that face, make it backspin, get it somewhere close, and just be content. Unless you drive it down there closer to where you can get a short iron, just concede to this hole and just say, okay, I just want somewhere where I can putt. And that's the main reason you're seeing me play with Saturn right now. This guy already has a Nirvana 5. This is blowing my mind. This guy's bag is insane for as early on as he is in this game. His bag is crazy. He has an incredible bag for, what did I say, 1,000 games? This guy has to be spending a decent amount. And it's funny because 1,600 trophies, but to execute that shot, that was pretty good. So, okay, this is one of my nemesis holes. I'm a little glad I put Big Dog on, but I'm a little not glad that I put Big Dog on because this guy also has Big Dog, but I'm glad that he's going first. So that makes me a little happy. So the best shot on this hole, there's a rough shot that's in between those two fairways. It can be a little hard to hit, but I think I'm up for the challenge, especially on a side wind. With Guardian, I would have probably just straight up beat this guy. I would have done a backspin shot. I would have hit that little part of the fairway and would have been perfect. That was actually a really good shot. Wow. That was really good. So there's an alternate rough shot. That's the first time I've seen that. That is crazy. Like, I can't even believe he's going for that little target. There's an alternate shot that's here, and I'm trying to remember, because I don't, if it's upspin or backspin. I feel like it's backspin. I feel like I'm kind of doing this incorrectly. So I'm going to do it with back. And of course, the only problem is I don't have the shot. Like I don't have the trail to tell me one way or the other if I'm doing this right or wrong. So it might take, half a time to make the mistake. And you see that shank's probably going to cost me? Yeah, definitely. So we're not... And here's the worst part about that. I'm not even going to see if that was right or not. Because I don't even see it run out. And this guy already... He just beat me straight up. It's pretty frustrating because, I mean, he was against the ropes and he had to hit perfect shot. And then for him to pull off that rough shot, I haven't even seen that. Like, that was kind of a very heroic shot. That was pretty crazy that he was able to pull that off. Because the rough target over there is so small compared to the one that I was going for. So the reason that I messed that up was basically my shank to the right, which I was able to miss left, just not right. So I feel like on holes like this, you got to force the issue a little bit. So the alternative is going the long way, which is kind of going this way, maybe bouncing it off the rough. I want to avoid that at all costs because so I'm not going to go too much extra power. It is downwind a little bit. I did get the perfect ball, which should probably boost me right into the middle of the fairway. And so the alternate approach is going right to left, left to right, I mean, sorry. And doing it with kind of a curl. It's a little bit easier with Apocalypse. Most people, they'll pound it through and they'll be in the left rough over there. And the guys who have like a Nirvana, especially if it's like a 4 or 5 already, well, first off, those guys kind of irritate me because my clubs are just ridiculously, I'm just ridiculously outmatched. So to even be winning at a higher rate than these guys, it's just like they're not really optimizing their abilities, because I know they can probably do a little better. So it's not, I just feel like they're just a little misguided more than anything. They're just not, playing smart or anything like that. And so you'll see just kind of erratic shots. I mean, look at the guy that you saw in this video, for example, who just put it in the water on that hole 3 times. Like, if you put it in the water once, well, just play it safe the second time and then try to pitch out and tie me. That's just the way to do it. So if you're not going to play it like that, then don't expect to, be able to still win. That's kind of the long and short of it. Alright, so I'm going to try it like this, and I'm just going to do it with some curl. You can kind of see where I'm aiming here. And one of the things, you got to make sure when you're doing this curl that you're not adding or subtracting any power. Very critical. It's really hard to tell. As you can see, I was kind of spot on, and yeah, it was definitely on line there. You got to be really careful with those. The most common thing that I see is guys, they'll add power. They'll add the power there, and adding the power, they'll hit it into the rough, and then it'll probably roll into the water. So that's the apparent obvious thing you can't do. Now you can do what this guy's gonna do. I would do it if it was me. I wouldn't do it like this. I would do it with the front spin through the rough. This is how he should play it, especially with his ball trail. So if you have a sniper, take advantage of your sniper. Do it like this. Do it to where, yeah, I mean, literally, especially with an eyeball. It's so funny that these guys, like, he's wasting an eyeball on this basic match. Just blows my mind. Because, I mean, sure, he could hold this, but what what did you just do? Like, explain to me how holding that out, like, really benefited you. You got one win, which you could have probably got just by maybe tying me and then just outplaying me in the shootouts. Or going second and, correcting my mistake, basically. And not to say that, that guys are, going to be able to always kind of hit the perfect shot at every situation. Things things tend to go wrong from time to time. But it's like using an eyeball that has 55% wind reduction, and you're doing it on a 5 wind. It's just crazy. It just blows my mind a little bit. So I'm actually pretty decent at this hole. I'm glad this guy's going first. The way that I like to play this hole is about 3 bars of backspin, maybe 3.5. So certain holes like this I remember because I've played them so recently. So the ones that I haven't played, like, I'll let you know, I just haven't played this hole in a while. So it's going to take a couple adjustments, and plus I don't have shot trail, so you put that combination together, and it's just an accident waiting to happen. I feel like I should just document stuff because it just gets embarrassing when I haven't played something in so long and then have to actually go execute on it. So one of the things you definitely want to not do is run it down this hill. And let me show you how not to roll it down that hill. So I might roll it down the hill, but it's not going to be 11.42 if I do. So let's try to figure this out. First off, I have to play more wind than this guy, so that's kind of sucky. So I'll play a little bit on the underside, maybe 3 bars here. But I'm not going to get super aggressive on this rough up here. So that's the primary way that I keep it out of the bunker, or keep it out from rolling down that hill, is I'm just not going to get super aggressive with my landing zone. So, for instance, this hole doesn't like to play really downhill too much. I might do 3-ish rings though, to be honest with you, just to play on the safe side. I'll do this. And I was able to get a perfect ball. Let's see how this comes in. You see, mine's less aggressive. It looks like I underplayed it. It is going to come down, but it's not going to come down to 11. It'll just come down to maybe 9. Ooh, it did almost come down to 11. Shoot. So mine came down kind of definitely harder than I thought. I guess I should have used a little bit more spin. I did not expect that to happen. And the difference between rolling that down the hill, to be honest with you, was my landing zone and half a bar of backspin. That's the only difference. And there's a way that it'll slowly roll down the hill, and like I said, it'll only be 8 or 9 yards. And I thought mine was kind of in that, but it looks like I was just a little harder. But if you would have just added half a bar, it wouldn't have rolled down that hill at all. Like, it's the difference between literally 2 yards and 11 yards. So that can be a little frustrating, that the margin of error is so small and yet so big. All right, so we got straight downwind. This is very similar wind to a tournament that I was playing. You know what? I just feel like, I'm gonna play it this way. I'm gonna regret this decision, but I'm just gonna go for it because this club's not nearly accurate enough to do this. Ah, I was able to manufacture the timing there. And you see what I did was no backspin. I probably should have did a little bit. What I usually did, so what I did in the tournament, which was nice, I didn't have to add power. I did it with 1 bar of backspin, which I almost did. I was half tempted to, but I was like, you know what? I just want to make sure that it quite gets there, and then I don't get robbed with since the fact that I was taking off a little bit of power intentionally. I was taking off a little bit of power, so. So as you see, I kind of forced this hand a little bit. It kind of solidified the win for me. But to even go one step above that, so you see how the hole is kind of like this? I'm going to aim more towards the bottom of the hole here to where I can hit perfect. But if I go right accidentally, then I'll probably still get the hole out. But I did get the perfect, so moot point. But when you're putting around a curve like that, you can miss high and it won't break so much, but you can't miss low. It's kind of a glitch in the game. And the glitch is that the ball doesn't go full power. Like, let me put it to you this way. So, on a putt, when you hit perfect, it goes 100%. Wherever you were going, it'll go to that mark, 100%. When you shank it, it usually goes like 99%. So, when you hit it a little bit softer, and then break it up the hill, well, what happens is it just tends to break down a little bit more. So it ends up still going in. Whereas the opposite happens when you miss low side on this game. So if you miss low side on your putt, same thing happens. You'll hit it 99%, for example, but now you're on the low side of the hole and the ball's going slower. So what happens? It doesn't go in and it comes up short. Well, not necessarily short because it'll probably still run past the hole, but it goes slower than it would have and on the low side of the hole. So you just compounded the problem. So just something to think of. As you can see, I'm loaded up on gold chests. Pretty happy about that. Even with that being said, I have 2,000. Oh, by the way, the reason I have 2,000 gems right now, it's not because I purchased gems. It's because when I unlocked the Tour 8 thing, I took advantage of that. So, I picked that up. It was the congratulations for unlocking Tour 9 or whatever. So I picked that up, and because it's a king chest, it's like some of the only chances you're ever going to have to, other than winning your division. But here's another kind of interesting tidbit. Well, first off, I'm not even at a king's chest, but if you look at my platinum chest, it's only Tour 2. So that's the thing that they'll get you on. As soon as you start seeing king chests here, it'll be like king's chest Tour 1. I used to lose first place on purpose because the king chest was too small and I didn't want those clubs. Alright, so I go first. You see, I totally wasted that Titan. Well, did I totally waste that Titan? Because I recall it as I got an Eagle on that last hole. Would I have got that Eagle if I didn't hit a Titan? And the answer is no. So, it kind of goes to show you that, using balls and clubs, it's kind of a relative term on whether or not it's, a good or bad thing. Because, I mean, you can see firsthand that is the reason I made Eagle. Now, did I have to make Eagle? It's hard to say. Had I gone to the right, that guy would have gone to the right. When he sees me putting, it forced him to. Sure, he can still go to the right and hold it out, but you're looking at some guy with this, 10-yard putt, and it's an intimidating factor. You're not going to go to the right anymore. You're going to go for the green, and it caused him to lose the hole. So maybe him going first would have been the best case scenario for him, because he would have already played it out to the right, and then I would have had a decision on my hand. Why should I go to the left when this guy's perfectly safe? It's a totally different mental mindset. It would actually mess with me a little bit. So, just something to think about as to whether or not you should go for that or not go for that. And on the claw here, looks like I'm a little bit on the short side, but not very much. I'm going to try to make sure that I still get it to the hole. Maybe play it a little bit deeper like this. And I am going to keep it to the left of the hole before I make my adjustment, because I feel like, even though I don't know if I'm going too much or not, as is, I'm going to have to dial this up really fast. I'm not even going to get this off. That's embarrassing. Oh, that's really sad. That's really pathetic. Especially after I might have... Well, that's okay. I feel pretty bad for this guy, so... I'd rather see him pitch out. Is he pitching out? I'm very confused as to why he's front. Oh, okay, I see what he's doing. Still trying to get it to the green, basically. Puts it up there too high. Could still make it. He could still beat me outright. Well, I can still beat him outright, too. Even with the shot clock, I could still make this. Yeah, look at my wind. It's way better. Don't count me out. Same thing here. I am going to try to bounce it on here for the... I'm not going to play very much on this. I'm going to go more than one ring, but not by much. So, as you can see, missed it. Regardless, I basically gave him an out by timing out there. Pointless, but that's okay. It is what it is. I just hope I get to the tiebreaker, because for just giving him a stroke like that, I'd feel a little bitter with just giving him the win. But I don't mind if he beats me on the tiebreaker. So in terms of his aim, this actually looks pretty good. Glad that he didn't hit the perfect ball. I was a little scared with the way he was playing it. It looked like his aim adjustment up the hill was pretty spot on, to be honest with you. It's kind of a very similar way that I would play it. Of course, we're both getting par. Kind of a pointless par for me. I don't like necessarily when I'm down like this and kind of... So I feel like for the most part I'm outmatched. So I don't like giving these guys the win. But when the reverse is the case and they are outmatched, I have no problem just giving them the win. Like, I'm fine with that. It's perfectly fine. So on my other account, especially in the tournaments, when we get to the tiebreakers, a lot of times I'll just dump a lot of matches in the tiebreaker to just speed up the process more than anything. Because I'll just let them have the... Plus, I don't need to be taking their coins. There'll be certain times where I'll draw the same opponent like 7 straight holes, and it's just ridiculous. Like, drawing this guy 7 straight times is just crazy. And I feel bad for him because I feel like with my other account, my clubs are just so good. And, I mean, I shouldn't feel bad because I earned them. I earned them fair and square, too. But I still feel bad for that guy, so if I beat him once or twice and we keep drawing, I'll just throw a couple matches to him. Especially if he goes first. I won't usually do it right off if I'm first off the tee because I don't know what his motive is afterwards. But if I see him hit a bad shot, then I'll just hit a worse shot. Okay, so I should easily be able to beat this guy. The way that I'm going to really have to beat him, with the way my backspin is at only 2.5 bars, is realistically it needs to be off this fairway. You need to bounce it off that fringe like I'm doing right there. That's just the God honest truth. Like, there's no other way that you're going to hit like an epic shot unless it comes off that fairway. So I'm going to do about 2 rings. I'm going to do it with just a little bit of counter as well. So let's see how I can get it. And see, I landed it long, which means it's going to go way up there and then have to come down, which is fine. You know there's a backstop here. It's fine using it. So one of the things you don't want to do is dump it OB. So you're going to see I'm going to play a little cautiously. Even if I don't hit that and it's over, it's better than the alternative. You don't want to hit it short. You're okay to hit it long. You don't want to hit it short into the emptiness. So you see I played a little cautious there because long is okay. You just don't want to go too long to where you're landing it way over that fringe. If you're landing it maybe like 4 feet in front of the hole, it might run through, to be honest with you. So you got to be a little cautious with your landing zone. Let's see what kind of clubs I got. Oh, no. I got Boomerang. I will unlock Thorn here. Why not? Especially with 2,000 gems. I'm really actually aggravated that they haven't gave it to me beforehand. And I am actually going to bump it up to a 2. I'm not going to bump it up to a 3 because it's going to start to cost too much. The 10, 14, and 18, yes. That is something I am perfectly willing to do. So I got my Thorn up to a 2. May or may not be something I want to switch to here. I know it has the power thing going for it. Ball trail is always a good thing. To be honest with you, I don't use curl at all. Accuracy is the same. Power's more. Backspin's more. I don't curl this club at all. This is an obvious switch at this point. It is obvious. Now, once claw becomes an 8, 9, 10, especially a 10, it is outperforming Thorn in my opinion. So the only thing Thorn has on it in that point is accuracy and ball trail, which aren't necessarily the most important factors to me, so I won't use it. But I'm glad it came in the shop. I am going to switch to it, so this just goes to show you how important seen Thorn can be, because even at a 2, I'm willing to just drop everything, switch to it. Now, I mean, it's not going to be the difference between me holding out all the time and not holding out, but I just like to play the percentages, and right now it's just the better club, especially with the ball trail. Ball trail can be a big factor, so if all the other numbers are very similar, except for instance, top spin and curl, which I'm not using anyway, I don't care about, I would never use that on a short iron. When I'm using a short iron, it's from the fairway. And when it has short in the title, I'm not behind a tree somewhere using it. I gotta play smart enough golf that I'm in the fairway and I'm in hole out range when I'm on my short iron. So it's just something to think about. Kind of those other stats don't matter. So I recommend you take the similar approach. You don't have to agree with my approach, but I strongly suggest you take those words of encouragement. Now, this is kind of like tomato. Like, we can get in an argument all day whether or not you should be using Sniper, Big Dog, or Guardian here. There's a couple holes where just that extra power and topspin, I'm just like really waiting for those par 5s to pop up so I can actually hit some greens, maybe get an eagle, because I had Big Dog in my bag. And that's the only reason that I got the eagle. So, looking forward to those holes when they come up. Other than that, I'm going to end this video for now. You guys have already seen some holes from me, and I've gave you a good idea of what to expect from this tour. I am going to keep trying to give you guys some content. I'm going to try to give you the same that I gave you in Tour 7. I'm going to try to give you at least 3 or 4 hours of content in Tour 8, because this is one of the biggest tours that I get the most questions about, and people wanting content. And more so than nothing, it's going to be hard to please everybody, because I feel like, especially when it comes to wood, there's no real right answer. I can't tell you to use Guardian, I can't tell you to use Sniper, and I can't tell you to use Big Dog. In fact, most guys don't want to use Big Dog. They don't have enough accuracy, but if you can hone in and just try to master that timing a little bit, and just kind of focus, I highly recommend trying to work up to that Big Dog. Now, you saw me dump Big Dog in the bunker. So, I'm not telling you it's a perfect club, but when I saw the shot that I was up against, I knew I had to go for perfect there. I had to go for broke. I mean, you saw that par 3, and he was in there inside 3 yards. So I was going to try to pull out the strings to beat 3 yards, which means that I have to hit that shot almost perfect. Not a lot of balls are going to roll up there inside 3 yards. So, aside from that, I mean, you saw me. I was still able to get it within 3 yards on that. So Sniper all day. When that last par 3 that I just played, it's going to be the best hole. It's going to be the best 3-wood, no question. Even if you hit a perfect ball, even if you miss your perfect ball, it's still only going to go a yard or two to the right or left. So you're really doing yourself a favor having Sniper for there. But then I think about all the holes that Sniper isn't as good. So let me explain it to you this way. If you had like a Sniper 9 or 8 right now, I'd say no question. Even me, if I had Sniper 8 right now, I would be doing Sniper. And same with Guardian. If Guardian was a 6 right now, like, those would be deciding factors. Like, I would actually be using those clubs because the stats are good enough to actually make that a considerable decision for me to actually go for it. But right now, I just don't have. There's nothing that I'm really looking at that I'm just like, you have to do this on this tour. There's no right answer on the woods. And same thing with the irons, the long irons. If you're trying to figure out what long iron to use on this tour, you got Backbone, you got Goliath, you got Saturn. I'm saying don't use anything besides those three. I'll tell you that, but I'm not going to give you an answer as to you have to be using this, because there is no right answer. Do you need the accuracy? Maybe bump up to Backbone. That's the biggest. You've seen me do a lot of content. I have missed perfect ball on Saturn, not very much. So I don't care if the accuracy's 35. It's 100 when I hit it perfect ball. So that's kind of a stat that I really don't hold a lot of value in. Now it doesn't matter, doesn't mean that you're hitting all those perfect balls. Maybe you can build up to it. But aside from that, you might want to switch to Backbone. If you're not, Goliath, another thing, just power and top spin. It's just, it can't be matched. The top spin, not really a factor. You're never usually needing to top spin the crap out of iron shots. Now there is situations, but they're too limited. Look at the accuracy on that thing. Man, that makes Saturn look like, it's just unbelievable. That even Saturn, one of the least accurate clubs in the long iron category, and just my Goliath is just so lacking. But anyway, hopefully you find this video valuable to you. And if you have any other comments or need any other suggestions, feel free to comment on my videos. If you haven't subscribed and you want to, feel free to subscribe as well. And other than that, good luck with Tour 8. I am going to be posting more content for you guys, so you don't have to worry about me not posting, so you don't have to ask for more videos. I'm going to get around to it. It'll probably be tomorrow sometime. So I'll have the content available for you, and the tournament, which is going to be the Tour 7 hole, should be coming up on Monday as well. So if you guys are wanting to just drop down to Tour 7, I do have those Tour 7 videos. They're labeled beginner, so if you want to watch beginner 1, 2, and 3 that I posted, parts 1, 2, and 3 for that beginner 7, it should be some great content in there that will help you prepare for the tournament. So good luck with your Tour 8. Good luck with your tournament. If you want to post your scores or let me know how you're doing, feel free to comment. And good luck.